good with the mirror weaves that are in the deck. It's like a mix between Death and Taxes and Lorn Block Constructed. Cedric Phillips would be very happy.
It does have Springjack's anything. Springjack Pasture, he can sacrifice goats? Is that what that does?
So, Nick, you can sacrifice goats for mana and life. So, Nick plays Chromox, Imprints, cracks a land, gets another gorgeous Guru Island. That's super pretty. And there's a Stoneforge and Mystic.
So, what did Michael spend all his mana on? He seems to have 4 mana.
Push it on port. He has double port.
Oh, he's double port in play. Okay. So he didn't actually cast anything. So those ports are going to have a hard time locking down Batterskull from coming into play, since Nick Spagnolo has that Stoneforge Mystic to put into play at instant speed. Michael Torres seems to be Mirage Plains flooded.
Mirage Plains, a nice one to have. So I mean, he does have those ports, but those ports are way worse against Stoneforge. He's about to bring in, some scary equipment, notably Batterskull. Yeah, so he's going to pass, tap 2 lands. I imagine those are probably going to put Batterskull into play.
Yep. So and Batterskull comes down. Nick Spagnolo with a Force of Will still in his hand for backup for that Batterskull. Along with Crucible and Daze.
Ooh. Now Daze is a card that's certainly not a lot of the. He doesn't have Daze in his deck. He doesn't have Daze in his deck, right?
I thought I saw Daze in his hand.
All right. Well, it's not his main deck, so unless he misregistered, he doesn't have it. I was going to say most lists don't play it. So.
I could just have been misseeing. Oh, it was Brainstorm that I thought.
Brainstorm.
I think.
Fair enough. Tap 2.
So
lean in Relic Warder. So you can play Relic Warder away the Batterskull. Probably did not see that one coming for Nick Spagnolo. And I'm probably just going to pass the turn. So let's see, Vial on 1 for Mike Torres.
And Path
Swords.
takes out the Relic Warder, brings back Batterskull, which will go about its battering of skulls this turn.
Oh, yeah, wow, yeah. They attack for 4. Michael Torres drops to 14. And Michael Torres not doing a lot against that Batterskull. Shows you just how powerful that combination is. And I think we were just playing with this in Standard not too long ago. It's absurd how good that is.
So it looks like, is that a Metamorph?
Yep, it copies Batterskull.
Okay. So it looks like Nick's token died somehow?
The token's traded off.
They traded, okay.
The Batterskull's blocks,
Gotcha.
traded up. But the person...
And Crucible comes down.
Crucible comes down. Of course, the person with the Mystic has the advantage in the Batterskull War. Pick up the Batterskull, replay it pretty easily. Wasteland's one of Mike Torres' ports.
So Crucible, a very, very powerful card in any sort of longer game, in particular with cards like Wasteland that let you attack your opponent's mana base.
Right, and now Nick can Wasteland every turn if he wants to. Mike Torres taps 3. Down comes another Metamorph. Copy the Batterskull again. So he'll get a 4/4. And then pass the turn. Oh, no, never mind. Relic Warder of the Batterskull. So Nick is thinking. He does have a Force in his hand, I believe. He thinks it's Brainstorm and Force. He could pitch the Brainstorm to counter the Relic Warder if he wanted to. Hand his Brainstorm, Force, and Stoneforge. And Batterskull gets Relic Warder.
Chooses not to. So I mean, Nick Spagnolo can just use his Stoneforge Mystic in his hand to search up another copy of Batterskull, which he can then put into play with his active Stoneforge Mystic. So no real reason to stop that Relic Warder.
Yeah, seems like that's the avenue to go here. Nick wisely playing 2 Batterskulls. Some people only playing with one, but you do want a second in case something disaster happens.
It was actually
first.
when Batterskull first was first printed, in the dark days when Stoneforge Mystics
standard. Yeah.
when Stoneforge Mystics were everywhere. A lot of decks, they had their one Batterskull to search for, whether in Standard or in Legacy, and a lot of players, had their one Batterskull, and then some others realized, hey, I never really want to get this other equipment. I only ever want to get Batterskull.
Right, exactly. I don't need this, Sword of War and Peace, or second Sword of Feast and Famine, or random junk like that. Yeah, Batterskull, the equipment is just so ridiculous. That standard format was so insanely oppressive, even far worse than fairies or anything else like it. So, very glad that was taken out. So, looks like Mike Torres is going to serve with his Batterskull, and Nick's going to drop his own Batterskull on the battlefield to block with. Gets a Germ.
We are now taking registration for all of our on-demand side events that includes drafts.
Looks like Michael Torres may be pathing
so Mike
actual
Torres
path.
Going to cast Path to Exile on the Germ token.
Not even a Swords to the Plowshares.
Yeah, Mike Torres splitting up Path and Swords 2 and 2.
Interesting.
In his main deck. Looks like Nick Spagnolo has a Thirst for Knowledge in his hand. Now, once again, Thirst is a card not as common in this deck.
So he does have Chrome Mox in his deck, which Thirst definitely makes substantially better. The Chrome Moxes you draw later in the game can be used as fuel for the Thirst.
Alright, Wasteland's away that port. Once again with Crucible, he can just keep replaying that Wasteland, has access to all the Wastelands he wants. And Nick Spagnolo in a pretty plush position here.
So
his opponent does have access to...
Metamorph comes back.
Yeah, he does have access to Metamorphing and Batterskull, but the combination of Batterskull plus Stoneforge Mystic is, as usual, going to make sure Nick Spagnolo has all the time he needs. Looks like he's going to serve with that Metamorph. He might. Yep, serves with the Metamorph.
With the token, and Batterskull goes up, goes down.
Goes back down.
Rebuys.
Trade him up. So both players gain 4 life. Both the Germs go away. Germs are pretty good at dying. Happens a lot with Batterskull.
So both players at relatively inflated life totals, as we have seen in Batterskull battles before.
Yep, and the inflated life totals certainly favor the control player here.
Spell Pierce takes out that Aether Vial.
Yeah, Vial down. And so the board is Batterskull, Mystic, Crucible on Nick Spagnolo's side, and Lean In Relic Warrior with a Batterskull on it, and 2 Metamorphs, which are both Batterskulls for Michael Torres.
And Jace.
Jace
Haven't we seen this before?
Man, yeah, I've seen all this happen far too often. I'm so glad they banned these cards in Modern, just so we wouldn't have to see this.
Yeah.
Whether or not it would have been good at the Pro Tours, that's something for debate, but just so we didn't have to worry about seeing this is nice.
Oh, Batterskull, oh, Batterskull.
Just actually write a song. There's just a good pop song out there for Patrick Chapin's next album about Batterskull and Stoneforge Mystic.
So Jace comes down, bounces the Lean In Relic Warder, which frees up the Batterskull.
Yep, so Batterskull number 2 back in, and with double Mystic and access to plenty of mana, he can do all kinds of stuff with those Batterskulls. So lots of battering is going to be happening. And I don't really know what Michael Torres has to get out of the situation. His Springjack Shepherds will not save him. Worth noting, as is in Standard, Jace trumps infinite life combo pretty well. So even if
Yes, it
Michael
does.
Torres goes infinite at some point,
No
in
matter
this
how
match,
much life you have, you still have limited cards in your deck
Yes.
that will Jace will sculpt right away.
looks like he's going to go for Michael Tabler casts a Relic Warder. Targets the Batter Skull with the Germ on it, and Nick's going to return it to his hand.
So slowly but surely, the return ability of Batterskull and the Aether Vial ability of Stoneforge Mystic grinding down the various removal effects of Michael Torres.
And Mystic jump blocks the Batter Skull. Still one Mystic up, though.
It's kind of interesting. Nick's trying to protect his life total. Oh, he's probably attacking Jace. Never mind.
Yeah, protecting the
I was just like, it's
Jace.
protecting his life total. I'm like, no, that's clearly attacking Jace. There's no reason you'd actually block there otherwise.
And Knight of Metagrain comes down for Michael Torres. And Nick replays line out of his graveyard, bounces the Batterskull with Jace, Batterskull token rather. And by Batterskull token, I really mean Phyrexian Metamorph copying Batterskull Germ token. Caps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Equips Batterskull to Stoneforge Mystic, serves for 5. Yeah, and if this connects, he'll drop Michael Torres down to 27.
All the way down to 27.
Yeah, totally.
So Michael Torres with a weathered. Oh, is he blocking? Oh, he's counting something. So Michael Torres with a weathered Wayfarer, which is a card that. Oh, did he actually just block? I think he blocked with his weathered Wayfarer.
Well, he can't. I mean, he doesn't Weather Wayfarer in his deck. He doesn't-
Is that not a
there's-
Oh,
there's
that's
Knight
not
of
a
Metagrain.
Metagrain. I thought it was a weathered Wayfarer for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess the Knight of the Metagrain just isn't going to do anything. So
All right. Down comes Lunar Relic Warder. Takes care of that Batterskull. So it's one Batterskull down. Yeah, really interesting deck by Michael Torres. Goats and taxes, but yeah, I think normally you could try and play for some kind of game where you Relic Warder and gain infinite life, but with that Jace around, it just doesn't mean anything.
oh, Batterskull comes down
Batterskull comes down indeed.
and blocks. So it's an interesting attack from Michael Torres. It seems like he knew that Batterskull was there. I guess he is forcing Nick Spagnolo to use his mana, but doesn't follow it up with anything.
Right.
So,
I mean, and he's probably just going to do that anyway. All right. Nick cracks fetch lands. Goes to 28. Ah, yes, Batterskull Wars. And if you're just joining us, I'm Gavin Verhey with Brian Kibler. The board state is a Relic Warder with a Batterskull on it, 2 Phyrexian Metamorphs on Michael Torres' side.
which are currently both copies of Batterskull.
Yep, Germless Batterskulls. Nick Spagnolo has the Germ Full Batterskull, as well as the Mind Sculptor, Crucible Worlds, and Stoneforge Mystic. Medallion Click happens in Michael Torres' upkeep, or draw step probably. And is going to target Michael, I presume. Or no, Nick targets himself. An undervalued ability on Medallion Click, I think, is the ability to cycle a card. I target myself a lot with it. No, he doesn't end up targeting Michael. Okay, so he's Celestial Crusader, Double Mirrorweave, Wasteland. I'm sure the jig is up now.
It's like, okay, I know that something's going on here.
Read Celestial Crusader. If you at home don't even know what that does, it's from Time Spiral. It's 4 mana, 2/2, split second flash. It crusades. So all your white creatures get +1/+1, or all white creatures get +1/+1. It crusades, as its name implies. This deck also contains 4 copies of the actual card Crusade.
So quite a few ways to make those goats quite big.
And mirrorweaving a Celestial Crusader seems kind of sweet.
Yeah, that can be a lot of damage very, very fast.
It's like a Wizen set, I guess.
Except it also affects goats.
Well, but I mean, if you
I guess
mirror,
it
if you
would
mirror
do
with
it
Mount
anyway.
Wise instead,
Yeah.
Wait, I think Celestial Crusader is all creatures, right? So it like
Is
makes
it?
your opponents pump your creatures too. That's kind of
Is
interesting.
that it?
Pretty sure because it's Crusade. Crusade is all creatures. I'm gonna pull it up and double check.
That would make some sense. Yeah, what does the goat mirror match look like? There's Crusades everywhere.
Jeez. Yeah, all other white creatures.
Oh, so yeah.
It's crazy.
Interesting.
So Nick is brainstorming off that Jace. Or no, sorry, thirsting. Thirst and drew a brainstorm. And now he's going to -1 bounce leader relic order to free up his batter skull.
And
Serves in with Medallion Click.
looks like the Vidillion Click and that Batter Skull. And, oh, Stoneforge coming as well.
Cap
They
score.
Mirror Weave, make everything a Vidillion Click. Kill all of them.
And those two Metamorphs are Batter Skulls, right? Because I think if you Mirror Weave a Metamorph, everything dies, right? Isn't that how that works?
No, because Metamorphs and As comes into play, I believe. Oh, it would, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
You can't target it because they're both Batter Skulls in this
yeah.
case.
So, here's what happened. He Mirror Weaves. He removed the click.
Or you remove the Germ token. So everything's a 0/0.
Oh, you remove the Germ token. Okay.
So everything's a 0/0.
It seems like if he wants to wipe the board, he should mirror remove click, right? Because doesn't everything die because it becomes a legend?
I think it's on legendary creature. You can't
Non-legendary
target
creature? Okay,
Yeah,
that would
Mirror
make
Weave is
sense.
legendary creature.
It's been a while since I've seen a Mirror Weave actually cast.
All kinds of weird things with that card. You can target it like Mutavault,
Mutavault,
Fog
yeah,
everybody.
everything becomes a land.
Once again, you can target Phyrexian Metamorph and everything dies. Target a Germ token and everything else dies. Michael Torres still gripping a Mirror Weave. Has swords in his hand now too. Gonna swords one of the Batter Skull Germ tokens. And this
Trying to fight Batter Skull Germ tokens with
swords, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
with
losing proposition.
spells is a very much a losing proposition.
And Spagnolo has a really good hand too. He's got Brainstorm, Force of Will, which you can hard cast. I think maybe another Brainstorm. Totally loaded.
Yeah, also somewhat high on
Hard cast,
life.
Force of Will. Counters Relic Order. So Nick Spagnolo going to start cranking away with those Germ tokens.
Fate Seals.
Ooh, Fate Sealing. Time to go for that part of the game. Wasteland your Wasteland. And he's, Wasteland's Tundra in response.
And comes in for, what is this, 11 damage?
Yep, should be 11. And that Fate Seal will make sure Michael Torres doesn't find anything more to do. Board state is very complex. If you just tuned in, Mike Spagnolo is at 51 through the magical power of Batter Skull. And he's got a Germ token with Batter Skull on it, a Batter Skull on a Vidillion Click, a Jace, a Crucible, facing two Metamorphs that are both Batter Skulls with no Germ tokens. And I think this game is probably over. Nick is chasing to Fate Seal Mike Torres. Just one of the worst feelings in Magic is when you get Jace and then leave it on the top. It sucks.
Fate Seal, the Fate Seal on Jace is definitely one of the more demoralizing things.
Yeah.
It's like, you can keep it.
It's just so unfun.
Oh, no.
Celestial Crusader comes down. I really hope there's nothing playable like that ability ever again. It's just so much, or at least not on that level. It's originally Jace's +2 ability was mill 2 cards, and they changed it to Scry/Fate Seal, and made the card infinitely better. That ability just pushes the card so far over the top.
Yeah, that's one of the more important cards. The fact.
So Michael goes for a Mirror Weave, and Nick shows him the counter spell, and then Michael concedes.
So we're going to go to game 2. That was a very long game 1.
Very long game 1. So if you're the Goats player here, how are you sideboarding?
I don't know.
How do you sideboard if you're a Goat Mage?
If you are a Goat Mage, I think Goat Mages sideboard in Phyrexian Revoker seems like a reasonable card here. He can stop his opponent's Jaces. He can stop his opponent's Stoneforge Mystics, potentially. He doesn't really have that much else that seems super powerful. Certainly have no use for Story Circle or Wheel of Sun and Moon or Angel's Grace. Maybe he has one copy of Mental Misstep in his sideboard. I guess he can fight his opponent's Mental Missteps if he
or Path
he
or Swords or something.
So, I mean, it seems like a pretty rough matchup for Michael Torres. He's facing a deck that has a bunch of removal spells and counter magic and the ability to present a very fast clock. Nick Spagnolo even has access to Path Exile and Wrath of God in his sideboard. Oh, whoa! I just saw this. Nick Spagnolo has two of my favorite cards in his sideboard: Gideon and Elspeth.
Wow, very nice.
That's sweet.
Double duo of Planeswalkers. So it looks like probably see both those come in here, right?
Well, I mean,
at least Gideon, I think.
Gideon seems like it's got to be pretty good here. I mean, he is facing a deck that's just full of creatures, and he's certainly not under too much pressure to be able to get to 5 mana to play Gideon. And Batterskull being able to eat all of his opponent's little dudes definitely seems pretty powerful.
Nick only running 3-man deck Force Wills, has the 4th in the sideboard.
It's an interesting decision.
I think Force Will is super overrated a lot of the time. It's very good against combo, but most of the time you're just 2 for 1-ing yourself. So.
Absolutely. I think that Force of Will is a card that it was long thought necessary in the Legacy format because of the power of combo decks. And now with Mental Misstep, the fact that you can interact with a lot of these combo decks without needing to Force of Will, without needing to give up the card advantage that Force of Will gives away. I think that you can see blue decks that don't feel obligated to play the previously sort of sacrosanct 4 Force of Wills.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's kind of like a sacred cow, but I think and also boarding out Force of Will, I think is something people do a lot. Like against Zoo, you almost always want to take out your Force of Wills.
I think it's something that people don't do nearly enough. I think people really need to take into account more. How important is a card like Force of Will in this matchup?
Definitely.
Can I afford to be trading 2 of my cards for one of theirs?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, Nick will probably bring in Path to Exile, Wrath of God, Gideon Jura, maybe Elspeth, Oblivion Ring potentially. And I can just see him taking out
Spell Pierces that don't seem too good.
Force of Will is a card.
Force of Will doesn't seem particularly important here.
Armageddon, probably not the card you want.
Yeah, you're playing against a deck that has Aether Vial and a bunch of cheap creatures. Armageddon doesn't really seem like the place to be.
So those are all things I can see cutting. So that's 1, 2, 3, 6 cards. Maybe you cut Crucible too if you don't think the game's going to go that long.
It's not really clear how important it is for him to put in anything like Path to Exile. Like his opponent's deck doesn't seem to be putting a ton of pressure on him. Like Path is a card that you want against, say, Zoo or Merfolk, decks that have key creatures that you want to pick off and very quickly. Whereas Michael Torres' deck is more of a needs to present a critical mass of guys in order to be particularly threatening. And in that case, you can probably just stick with Swords and Wrath of God.
I mean, yeah, Wrath is certainly a big one you want to bring in. I think the Gideon is also probably pretty good.
Yeah, Gideon certainly seems like
Nick Spagnolo here.
A good call here.
Mike Torres drops Aether Vial. John Medina pointed out on Twitter that the taxes in the name is because of how it taxes your mana base with ports and wastelands. That's where it comes from. So looks like Goats and Taxes is where it's at. Nick Spagnolo plays a Altered Flooded Strain. And likely he's just going to ship the turn. He's thinking about it. Alright, he ships, Michael Torres draws, plays. Oh, he's going to Violin Soul Ward, so he gets a life off of this play. Then he's going to play and Metagrain. So Metagrain and Soul Warden fighting down Flooded Strand. Nick Spagnolo cracks Flooded Strand. He gets Tundra, which he's casting. Is he just going to path that Soul Ward or Swords the Soul Ward?
I mean, I can't imagine that. Oh, well, maybe he is.
He's just...
It's interesting.
It's like the Crispicula rule. It says if your opponent plays a card and you don't know why it's there, you should just always kill it. And
I've never heard that as a Crispicula rule.
What's that?
I've never heard that referred to as like crystal cooler.
He was the one who first told me about it.
Interesting. I mean, I that makes some amount of sense. You know, they seem to have some sort of plan for you know their combo here. I mean, he did see both Relic Warder and Metamorph in the previous game, so you know he may want to. And this is Crusade, and someone on Twitter actually pointed out that Michael Torres is in fact running Crusade over Honor of the Pure. So Honor of the Pure, the updated version of Crusade that only affects your own creatures, but Crusade is apparently Michael Torres is in fact just on a Crusade here. He has Celestial Crusader, he has his Crusades.
Let's play nice with others.
It's the GOAT Crusade deck, and this is a Leonin Arbiter.
Okay, that'll cut down on any shuffling Mike Torres is going to do, but I don't think anything is in his deck shuffle, so it only hurts Nick, and Nick has tons of shuffling. He's got Flooded Strands.
He has a bunch of fresh lands.
Flooded Strands, Misty Rainforest, Scalding Tarn, a couple shuffling cards. Stoneforge Mystic, of course. Yeah, I was looking over Michael's deck list to see if there's a reason why Crusade is better than Honor of the Pure, and I can't really find one.
Maybe he likes the art better.
I mean, it's very unlikely to matter a lot of the time. If you're going to Stoneforge Mystic, I guess I can fight with your guys, which could be
in the
awkward.
GOAT mirror. Your opponent's goats get bigger.
You gotta be careful. Cast Swords on Leonin Arbiter, and Torres is going to Violin.
Flicker Wisp.
Nice. Flicker Wisps out the Arbiter, meaning that it lives to see another day. Nick Spagnolo will, while the Arbiter is gone, he's going to crack that Flooded Strands. Oh, from Jeffrey K on Twitter, Crusade makes one more GOAT than Honor of the Pure. That's true, because it's got two white symbols for chroma.
Wow. That is true. That is true.
Actually very relevant. So.
Booster draft number 2, $10 booster draft number 2, come on and see Byron right over here to the left.
And Arbiter comes back. Michael Torres with quite the board position here. Flicker Wisp, Arbiter, Meadowgrain, Vial, and Crusade. Those are pretty big creatures. Nick Spagnolo needs to find some answers.
So Nick Spagnolo with a Flooded Strand that will cost him mana to search, as Leonin Arbiter is back in action. Michael Torres' team is pretty threatening right now. That Crusade, and Flicker Wisp goes the way of the farmer. That Crusade has the Knight of the Meadowgrain and the Leonin Arbiter both at 3/3, and that is a 2-turn clock with Nick Spagnolo at 12.
And who knows what? And he kicked the Vial up to 4, so who knows what's going on there. Springjack Shepherd time.
Is Shepherd a 4?
Shepherd is 4. Crusader is also a 4.
All right. Well, and Soul Warden comes down.
I guess I haven't looked up Springjack Shepherd. I'm doing this all from memory, so let me pull it up. It's not a card I've played with very often.
I was gonna say you're doing. I have no just idea of what Springjack Shepherd is, let alone able to remember the exact text. That's Pasture.
Yeah, clicked on the wrong one.
Wrong Springjack card.
Springjack Shepherd.
And Celestial Crusader comes down.
Yeah, it costs 4.
It is in fact the Celestial Crusader, which comes down to boost the Leonin Arbiter to 4/4, which is going to be enough to eat the Mishra's Factory. Oh no, that's a goat. That's the goat machine.
There we go, Springjack.
There we goat. Oh. And the Crusade, the extra 1/1.
It's very relevant. Oh man.
So what does it do?
So it's W3 for a 1/2. When it comes into play, you get a 1/1 white goat for every white mana symbol on permanents you control.
Okay.
Or 0/1 goat, sorry. Because goats don't have power.
Well, now they do.
Well, yeah, now they do.
These goats are on a crusade.
They're fighting goats.
They've got blood in their minds. There are many, many goats in play. I can't quite tell how many, but there are, in fact, too many for Nick Spagnolo, unless he's actually able to cast Wrath of God next turn.
And And yeah, I mean Nick does need a Wrath here. Otherwise, those goats might just, I don't know, gnaw him apart.
It does not look like he has Wrath of God.
Let's see. So Soul,
and Nick is dead. The army of goats takes him down.
Let's see. Michael got Nick's goat. Did that be appropriate, or did Nick get Michael's goat?
Nick get gotten by goats. I don't know. I don't know exactly how the saying works, but I know that goats ate him.
Actually, I believe Nick goaten by goats.
Nick was like a tin can right there. He got chewed up and spit right out by the army of goats.
And you look at Nick Spagnolo. That is the face of a man who just
what just happened to me? What just happened to me?
That's insane. We just got.
I mean, how many times do you think someone in a competitive Legacy event has viled in Springjack Shepherd? How many times do you think this happens?
This might actually be the first.
It's the first I've ever seen. It's the first I've ever seen that card played ever.
It's possibly played this in a previous event, I guess.
It's possible. Is this? Wow, this is awesome.
This is Goats and Taxes in action. Nick Spagnolo changing up his sideboarding.
Shaking his head. He's like, what? So many goats.
That is awesome. The Dudes Again on Twitter points out, are Brian and Gavin men who stare at goats?
I don't feel like my mental powers can kill any of these goats. I don't want to kill these goats. These goats are pretty awesome.
I mean, yeah, I want to see these goats in action, actually. I think, man, when you take that vial up to 4, you know something bad is going to happen.
Like, okay. I mean, and you know, when you thought, you know, that, okay, maybe it'll be Celestial Crusader. No, it's not Celestial Crusader. It's an army in a bottle. Like,
army in a bottle. Oh, man. Brandon Beard on Twitter says, we need a deck list ASAP. Well, we'll see if, I'll talk to Glenn Jones and see if he can get you a little something. But we'll read it off to you guys right now in the meantime. 3 Phyrexian Metamorph, full 4 Soul Warden, 4 Flicker Wisp, 2 Knight of Meadowgrain, 4 Springjack Shepherd.
4 of them. Not 1, not 2, not 3.
4 Mike is not pulling any punches with the goat.
Yeah.
2 Celestial Crusader, 4 Leonin and Relic Warder, 2 Path to Exile, 2 Swords to Plowshares, 4 Crusade, 3 Mirror Weave, 4 Aether Vial, 4 Port, 4 Wasteland, and 14 Plains. Sideboard, 2 Leonin Arbiter, 2 Phyrexian Revoker.
Just giving away all his tech here.
A Relic, 3 Story Circle, 2 Wheel of Sun and Moon, 2 Angel's Grace, a Misstep, and 2 Tormod's Crypt.
A thing of beauty. A thing of beauty this deck.
A goat of beauty.
A beautiful, beautiful goat.
Michael Torres is a true goat mage. Goat Blade. Goat
Blade. Goat Go. I don't know.
Goat
Go isn't bad.
I want to play Goat Blade pretty bad.
Goat Blade, but the goats don't need blades. There's so many of them. How would you arm them all? So Nick seems to have an opening hand, which he is staring at intently.
Nick seems happy. It looks like Michael Torres is shipping his hand back, going to 6. Not what you want to see if you're a goat mage. You need all your cards.
I mean, you can't make nearly as many goats if you mulligan.
It is harder.
Is that like going to be like level 51? Goat mage?
Goat mage.
So yeah, level 50 Archmage, level 51 Goat Mage.
It's just beyond this. That is like what Matt Tabak is, right? Like he's in there coding in his own.
You have passed beyond the realm of mortal men, and you've ascended to the Goat Mage.
It's like, live very well, now a Goat Mage. Yeah, we're talking the new Planeswalker point system, of course. Level 50 is Archmage, only 5 players.
I still think that you should be able to choose your title when you're level 50. I'm gonna send that suggestion along to Mike Turian because
I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
it gives you it actually gives you a cool incentive to level up.
I want to be level. I want to be able to choose. I would actually just choose Dragon Master.
Dragon Master.
50 Dragon
and you should choose your picture too, right? Yeah. Dragon Master Halfcast would be awesome. So Torres goes for Soul War. Nick Spagnolo mental missteps it.
Nick seems to have no second land past his back, or he could have gotten wastelanded, perhaps. It looks like there's a Mishra's Factory in his graveyard.
And his hand has Stoneforge Mystic. It's got some juice.
And Michael Torres with Rashad and Port, so
There's the tax part of the deck.
Nick Spagnolo's land stall is
There's a brainstorm.
potentially going to cost him. So he passes back with the full 7.
And there's another port. And here comes Soul Warden.
And no misstep for that one.
And then he's going to shift the turn and tap that Tundra. Nick will likely brainstorm in response.
Yeah, he's casting Brainstorm. You used to be able to float the blue mana into your draw step, draw your card, and then Brainstorm.
Yeah.
But the changes, I believe it was in M10.
M10 rules changes.
Changed it so that mana clears from your mana pool between steps as well as phases. So Nick doesn't get to see the extra card he would if he got a draw step first.
It's actually a pretty significant change, and a lot of older decks really use that ability.
Well, I mean, it's kind of funny actually playing. He discards. No, poor Elspeth. There's Crusade in your opponent's deck. And this is actually a really rough spot for Nick because, given that he has Brainstorm, he knows there's no land coming.
Yeah. So he's got another Brainstorm. He can dig a little deeper, but
I don't think I'd want to Brainstorm right away.
No, not next turn. You want to clear up some of those cards first. And he's going to Swords away the Soul Warden in his upkeep in response to the land being tapped. So the cool thing about the Planeswalker point system is that I think there's a lot you can do with the lifetime points that are like tangible benefits. Like choosing your title would be one example. Choosing your card could be another one at certain levels. So, cool stuff there. Looks like, is that a Springjack? Is that what?
Ooh, Leonin Arbiter.
Oh, that's Leonin Arbiter. When Nick only has one land.
And many of his lands are fetches.
Yep.
So this could be pretty rough. And he uses the white mana for Swords to Plowshare, so he wanted to discard this turn. So Nick draws. And
draws Misty Rainforest.
Misty. That is well-timed. Passes back.
Yeah, but Mike does have access to 2 ports here.
Well, Misty Rainforest is a difficult land to port.
Well, it certainly is. Although he can force Nick to crack it, potentially, if he taps it at some point.
Yes.
For example, Nick's trying to get that Stoneforge Mystic online. If Mike taps both of Nick's lands in his upkeep, he'll likely crack the Misty Rainforest. And if that happens, then and he doesn't draw a land, then it's the Rainforest.
Well,
is gone.
the only real reason to crack the Misty Rainforest is so your opponent can't wasteland it while it's tapped, but your opponent can wasteland most lands you get anyway.
I mean, I figured he'll go like Brainstorm, put 2 cards back, Misty Rainforest, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes to tap the Misty Rainforest, I think I would just let him tap it. There's very little incentive to let his other port become live before you have you're able to cast a 2-cost spell.
Looks like Mike doesn't even try to tap the Rainforest.
Yeah. And Nick draws a land, looks like a Mishra's Factory, which lets him get Tundra with his Misty Rainforest and cast that Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, that's a good point about tapping the Misty Rainforest. I guess it doesn't really play out.
So Stoneforge comes down.
Stoneforge down, going to get Batterskull.
Yeah, we're going to go see the Great Batterskull come into play.
Alright, Nick's going to go get Batterskull. And now Michael Torres has had plenty of time to assemble some pressure and was not able to.
It looks like he has quite a bit of mana. I believe that's... Now that I've seen the artwork for this card, I think that's a Springjack Shepherd I see in his hand.
Shepherd not
so impressive just yet.
It's not as GOAT in this position. Taps 2 for Phyrexian Revoker. Alright, so we can revoke the Stoneforge, but I'm guessing that probably gets forced by Nick. See if Nick forces that. Nick burned a lot of targeted removal spells on Mike's earlier creatures, hitting even a Soul Warden.
So,
alright, let's it resolve.
Yep, comes into play. And now we have
Flicker Wisp.
And just doesn't flicker anything? Or he's flickering for the Stoneforge.
Wait, you flicker Stoneforge Mystic. Why would you flicker Stoneforge Mystic?
I don't know.
Out of all the cards on the battlefield you could have flickered, Stoneforge Mystic was probably not the one I would have chosen.
I probably would not as well.
Because if you flicker your planes, it untaps even.
Yeah.
Oh well, so much for that.
Well, so
Now Nick has both his batter
and
skulls.
now Nick has a pair of batter skulls, which he can't currently actually deploy thanks to Revoker, but now he casts Wrath of God. So Wrath of God kills the Revoker and the Flicker Wisp, as well as Stoneforge Mystic.
All right, so
Michael Torres,
gorgeous
looks
portal
he
wrath.
is passing the. No, he's casting.
Time for some goats.
Is this only a single goat?
All right, it's goat time.
One goat. Goat time.
Yeah, it's goat time.
So ports a Mistress Factory.
There needs to be a professional sports team that uses a goat as a mascot, so we can say things like this all the time.
That would be interesting.
I think Michael Torres has Celestial Crusader in his hand, not totally sure. Alright, so he attacks and then flashes into
Split second, boom. Not just flash, split second.
Yeah, cannot respond. And so he's going to take 2 from the 1/2 Springjack guy. It's +1. Medallion click comes down though.
Players in the draft open, your pairs for round 2 have been posted. Players in the draft open, pairs for round 2 have
Batter
been
skull on the
posted.
bottom.
Please find your seat for the
So Nick should be one of the free batter skulls he got off of that Flicker Wisp.
So just a free card.
Nick's found his way back into this game with plenty of lands.
He was stalled on mana, but Michael Torres was not able to assemble much pressure or many goats.
Yeah. Nick draws Oblivion Ring, I think.
Oblivion Ring. He is Oblivion Ring?
And then 1 in the sideboard, yeah.
Oh,
Catch-all answer, I suppose.
interesting.
Deals with opposing Jaces.
Makes sense.
In comes Medallion Click. Down comes Flooded Strand for Nick Spagnolo. That's line number 5 for the once mana light opponent.
And Stoneforge, which will go get that batter skull once again.
Alright, Michael untaps. 1 goat on the battlefield, 1 Springjack.
Is the goat count going up?
Alright. See if we can. Crusader. Let's see. I'm trying to get a read on what's in Michael Torres' hand.
I believe that was a lean and arbiter.
Yeah, I saw the Mirrodin symbol. Oh man.
So in comes the squad.
And cracks that Flooded Strand. And that means that Mirror Crusader is likely going to block. Or sorry, Mirror Crusader. Mistress Factory. Very
I
close
was just like,
cards.
what are you talking about? Mirroring Crusader.
They're both 2-word card names. One of them start with M. So
If we have a second Celestial Crusader here. Well, and that Stoneforge Mystic is a 2/3 thanks to Celestial Crusader.
yeah, it's very true. And looks like the factory is activated,
going
pumps
to-
itself. So it's going to eat up the... And it's going to take care of most of Mike's board.
So is this?
It
Looks like it was. Maybe it was.
nothing there. Oh, there's this too. Alright.
Oh,
Nick
no.
had to force the second Springjack. Shepherd.
Boo.
He couldn't let it resolve, otherwise he's
Yeah.
would be looking
There'd be
pretty bad.
so many go. Oh God. That was really bad. He'd be in a bad
sweet.
spot.
Yeah.
the end of round
I'm actually pretty disappointed that there's no goats in play, not more goats in play.
There's still one goat.
I mean, it's not to say that I'm rooting for the player with the goats, but I'm rooting for the goats. At least that they get to enter play and do goat-like things.
And Nick plays Jace, bounces back Celestial Crusader. Does not make the mistake of bouncing Scream Attack Shepherd.
So time was actually just called.
This game will likely go to a draw.
Well, they actually have 7 extra minutes because they did start a little bit late.
Oh, okay.
So
time
was called for the rest of the round. So yeah, this should certainly be able to reach its natural conclusion. Yeah, it looks like Nick is quite aware of the time pressure he's under and is playing as quickly as possible.
Oh, there's Batterskull. Nick is pretty good position to clean up here. Although Mike Torres just plays lead in Relic Warder. Relic wards away 1 Batterskull. And plays a lead in Arbiter too. Looks like he's gonna pass back to Nick. Nick's board, Vendelian Click, Stoneforge, Jace. Several lands, including 2 Mistress Factories. Michael Torres has a 0-1 Goat, Springjack Shepherd, which made said Goat, lead in Relic Warder and lead in Arbiter.
But Nick does have Jace online. And, well, Jace gives him a sort of inevitability. He needs more than just inevitability right now. He needs a way to actually win in the next few minutes.
Inevitability.
I'm just not gonna say anything. I'm gonna let you do that all yourself.
but yeah, seriously, that Jace is just gonna pull ahead with this game. I mean, he's got Batterskull. I guess he did get Relic Warrior, but he still has that second one. He put it back underneath his deck with the Click, but they found it again with that Stoneforge, right? So he should still have it. I can't quite make out Nick's hand.
The tag team of Jace and Stoneforge Mystic is pretty difficult for the Billy Goats Gruff or whatever that we have on the left side of the board. So Crusade comes down, which makes those goats a little bit scarier.
And attacks for.
I wonder if Nick is really taking into account the Crusader and Crusade affecting his creatures.
Yeah, I mean it's just
an effect that has been shifted. The way that those sort of effects work nowadays is much more like Honor the Pure. Pretty much all of the Lord effects and the Crusade type effects. It's just funny because we call them Crusade type effects when they originated with the card in play right there, Crusade. But they've all been pretty much changed such that they impact. Oh, and then Batterskull gets back.
Mid-combat, revive Batterskull. Swords, Arbiter, get back Batterskull, block. Yeah, I mean, because it's not fun when you pump your opponent's creatures, right? You
right, well, I mean, that's why they've all changed, but, for players who haven't necessarily, played for, all of Magic's lifespan, they're much more used to the sort of more modern version of those cards, like Honor the Pure.
Nick's only enemy here is time, I think. He just has to make sure he's got enough time to take this match down.
So, looks like...
Alright, there's Celestial Crusader. And so, a couple creatures die off in combat. But the Batterskull brings up Nick's life total. And he takes 2 from that
so
goat.
It looks like Leon Arbiter trades for the Bishop's Factory there, essentially. And Nick actually gains life in the exchange because of the Batterskull, I believe.
Right.
And when it kills a token as well.
Nick's Fate Seals Mike, just leaves the card on top. You can have it, he says. Once again,
but now we're going to see... What is this? Yep. All right. So
equips Batterskull to Vendelian Click.
Click picks up a weapon, gets in there for 7, brings Nick Spagnolo up to 18 life. Michael Torres down to 15.
someone on Twitter asked if all the goat tokens are foil. Yes, they are foil goat tokens.
If you're going to collect goat tokens, then might as well be foil goat tokens.
It's very difficult to get foil tokens, so there's a special process you can do that a lot of card alters have done to their tokens to make foil ones. We basically overlay them with a foil sheet, and it creates a foiling effect. Just like how it's done in the factory, only you have to do it manually. I have like a couple foil worm tokens at home.
Interesting. Interesting.
And Jace +2 on Michael Torres. And Jace all the way up to 6 counters now. Michael Torres chump blocks Medallion Click with Celestial Crusader, getting rid of one of his Crusade effects.
Crusader flies?
Crusader does fly.
Oh. Alright, so...
And I feel that way about most Time Spiral cards. It's like...
That does that?
That makes total... part of the reason perhaps why that set was not as successful is because it's very hard to grok what's going on.
What is actually even happening in this world? So, Jace continuing to go up.
Jace on 8 counters now. And Nick
Medallion
playing very
Click
quickly.
continuing to attack. So, I mean, this game looks like it's well in hand for Nick Spagnolo. Michael Torres, pretty low on action, pretty low on life. I think his life total there is incorrect that we're seeing on the screen. That Click has gotten a couple attacks in.
But he's been chump blocking.
He did chump block once, at least. Yeah, he's down to 9 left. It's a little different than what we had on our screen.
Yeah, and Nick's also got the Jace angle.
Second Crusade.
Pumping up guys, but not too much effect.
That goat is not quite scary enough.
Draws Wasteland. And Nick Fate Seals again. 10 counters on the Jace now.
His several roads to victory here. And Michael Torres draws. And there it is. So, despite a goat swarm taking game 2, Nick Spagnolo manages to come back and win the match. That was definitely
fun to see.
Definitely a fun match to watch. Some interesting stuff going on there.
I mean, I'm not gonna say